I know that you started blogging at the age of 13, and then you eventually went on to having your own e-commerce drop shipping based businesses. And there was also a track on doing fitness coaching and a lot of those other aspects of life. But boom, there was a moment that you came back to creating content just as how it was when you were 13. So looking back, what was it like to reconcile with this 13-year-old Danny? And what did you learn about the power of internet? Like, how do you think you're better informed now? And what would you say to the 13-year-old? And how do you reconcile back in that context?
It's interesting that we have the answers at such a young age, and what I view being 25 years old and putting out the content that I started to when I was 25 is like, I was just reconnecting with the version of myself that was 13, and I had the answers at 13, but I didn't have enough trust or belief in myself at 13 that I actually did. And I think that's the number one thing I would, if I were to go back to my 13-year-old self, I'd be like, "Dude, you got this. You know exactly what to do. You're on the right path. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're spreading light into the world. You're showing love. Yes, you're not being taken seriously by a lot of people because you're 13. Yes, you don't have the experience to back this up, but guess what? It doesn't matter. Your intuition is correct. And someday you're going to be doing this regardless of if you suppress this or not." So, I suppressed it for a long time, maybe like 12 years to be exact, full decade of my life. And that decade has served me in many ways. And now it's time for me to shed that layer of myself to get back to who I was at 13. So that's what I would say to my 13-year-old self. And that's kind of, that was the remarkable thing about coming back to writing at 25.
Right. And how is this power of internet that let you
Mm.
achieve that you think what you've done, whether it was at the age of 13, where you were really fascinated about NBA and a lot of other things that happened around at that time, where blogging was definitely new. And it was like, oh my God, like everybody has a blog. So let me go ahead and try my luck. So actually, things are not very different now. I mean, like everybody right now thinks, oh my God, like I have to have a blog or I have to start a newsletter or I have to do a podcast. So I think times have not changed much, but the power of internet definitely has. So what
Mm.
have you seen, about that part from what you've been through in your creative pursuit?
I remember just like looking at the internet when I was 13 years old and being like, this is amazing. The fact that I am in this place and that I can communicate with any person who's living and also has a connection to this thing. Like to me, the fact that that just is a thing that you could just tweet something out and immediately thousands of people could see it, or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people could see it, to me was like, what is this? And how did this come to be? And so I guess being a 12-year-old or 13-year-old and seeing this firsthand and seeing this without understanding really the background of it or seeing it get built
Mhm.
slowly, like it was just like I learned about what it was and I was getting some lessons in school from it, but I wasn't like, I didn't know what it was like before. I just saw it and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And that really stuck with me. And that can't go away from my mind. It never does. It never has left me of just like the internet is incredible. And how don't people realize or see or understand that you could connect with any person, anywhere, anytime, and like you can just put out your voice, your message, and people could resonate with it or they cannot. And like I just am so amazed by the power of the internet.